morning, good evening, good afternoon. My name is Rev Rich, and as always, I welcome you to Wisdom Wednesday. And as always, subscribe, like, share, and hit that bell so you know anytime we drop a new video. This week, we did not have our truth talk with my daughter. Again, it's Christmas season. We have a lot going on, so we decided to let that go. But I definitely didn't want to let go of Wisdom Wednesday because today is very important. And I am going to walk you through a ceremony that normally takes place on New Year's Eve. So you can do this on your own as well. So I'm going to give you some instructions. Not only I'm going to do the ceremony with you today, so you can, the video will be up so you can use the meditation. But I'll tell you 2 ways that you can do it at home safely. So with that being said, today's topic is release and renew, or let go and let God. And we've heard that phrase a lot. You know, we have issues. Everybody's like, let go and let God. But do we truly understand what that means to you? What does let go and let God mean? Or even release and renew? What does that actually mean? What are we releasing? What are we renewing? So I took a daily word from February 7th, 2019, and it's entitled, Let Go, Let God. And the affirmation was, with confidence and in faith, I let go and let God. Now, the prayer, if you don't remember, I've described this before, if you've never read a daily word before, usually you get a word or a phrase, then an affirmation, and then an affirmative prayer to go with it. So the affirmative prayer, I think, actually describes what the situation is. The power in committing something to prayer comes not when I make a request, but when I release my attachment to the outcome and accept what unfolds. And I want to read that again. Prayer comes not when I make a request, but when I release my attachment to the outcome and accept what unfolds. What I am seeing with my human understanding is just a small piece of the overall picture. The path I travel comes together like a divine puzzle. Perfect pieces from expected and unexpected sources fall into place as I go. As I open to the energy of prayer, I relax into the awareness that I may not yet have every answer or every piece to the complex puzzle. I have faith that everything is in divine order and then release it all to my source. I no longer try to dictate a specific solution and instead trust that each outcome is for the best. With confidence and in faith, I let go and let God. And from Proverbs 16:3, it says, commit your work to the Lord and your plans will be established. When we look at that Bible verse as metaphysical, we talk about committing the work that we need to do, the release that we need to do to our inner self, and our plans will be established. We talk about the power of imagination. The power of imagination is exactly that, seeing it and then expressing it. Reverend Eric Butterworth, great author, great minister in the Unity movement, has a saying that says it is not our responsibility to set it right, but to see it right. It's when we release those preconceived notions of what we think it is, and we see it through a perspective lens of right or wrong or whatever, rather than seeing it as it is, finding the beauty within it to truly know what's going on. We all have challenges in life, trust me. You know, we're just going through the holiday season. We're in between Christmas that just passed and New Year's coming in. And, you know, New Year's comes with a lot of anxiety because we're talking about New Year's resolutions, which half of them are given up on by the 15th of the month. We're talking about changing our lives. I'm not one. I believe that if I make a decision today to change something, then I begin today to work toward it. It may be a very small step I take, but I never wait till a new year. But we still have the practice where people feel that in a new year, it's a new you, all of that. We've also had a very challenging couple of years. You know, we had COVID coming in 2020. 2021 seemed to have gone a little bit worse in some cases. And now we have 2022 coming, and there are some funny memes out there telling us now we're not going to affirm 2022 is going to be the best year. We're going to walk in tiptoeing and watching ourselves as we go through it because of what has gone on. But again, it is the perspective that we see, the perspective of that, because I can say I've had a lot of blessings this year, and I've had a lot of challenges. Or as Les Brown used to always say, we don't have bad days, we have character building days, because everything is a lesson. And hence, the company name of With Every Encounter was born, because when we come from a perspective of everything has a lesson, we change our mind. And when we change our mind, we can release those preconceived notions and let the good come through. So when we release, we talk about releasing those past beliefs, those past notions. So when I was looking into Buddhism and I was reading a lot of the wisdom scripts from them, there was a script that I read, and I have it here to read with you. It is: the two monks have taken a vow of celibacy and are standing on a muddy river ready to cross. Just then a beautiful young woman in fine clothes come upon them, also needing to cross. One of the monks, not waiting to ruin her beautiful clothing, offers to carry her across the river. And so he does. He puts her down on the other side, and the two monks continue their journey. Hours later, the second monk says to the first, I can't be quiet any longer. You know you shouldn't have carried that woman across the river. You know it's a violation of your vow to touch a woman. So the older monk turns to the monk and just simply says, I let her go hours ago. Why can't you? So it is one of those things you want to think through, but it's true. The woman was gone. The woman's on her journey. They're on their journey. It was hours later, but yet in the mind of the young monk, he continued to carry the pre-notion that his vow of celibacy said, I am not allowed to touch a woman. Where the older monk was wise enough to say, I am just carrying her across. How many things in our lives right now are we still carrying from our past? Maybe it's hatred towards somebody or anger towards somebody. Again, from the Buddhist text, they say that anger, holding on to anger, or holding on to resentment, and holding on to hatred is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. We need to remember that that is the point that we need to release. And when we release those points of us, those things that no longer serve us, we begin to open ourselves up to the good that's in life. We begin to open ourselves up to those things that we need to become the best we are. We also have to remember that when a vacuum is created, it needs to fill itself. So we don't want to release something we don't need and then open ourselves up to fill it up back with something we don't need. So we need to release those thoughts, those preconceived notions in our mind. That's important. So a few things when we talk about, releasing in this fashion, and then we'll talk about the ceremony that we do yearly. And again, the ceremony, I said yearly, but we can do this as many times as you want, once a week if that's what you want to do. Few things that you can do before that is allow yourself to feel negative emotions, just don't let them own you. This is when we talk about the attachment. We all have things that trigger us, and you've heard me use this word constantly, trigger. And triggers are those emotions that when something happens, usually it triggers a feeling or an emotion inside of you, such as somebody doesn't do something, I get angry. Why am I getting angry? Is it really because the person didn't do something, or because of something that happened in my past that triggered an emotion that came up? Somebody said something, somebody didn't give you something didn't happen the way you wanted it, bringing up these emotions like a volcano of lava just coming out. You don't understand why. These are those triggers. There's something in your past that you need to release and let go. Stop holding on to it. But when you continue to hold on to it because you think that it's your security blanket, These are the things that will constantly come up. And we know Narcotics Anonymous has it said best, where he says that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and waiting for a different result. So when we detach ourselves from an outcome, we just allow it to happen. It is just a situation, and we find the positive in it. You'll see how life will start to change for you. Again, accept the things you cannot change. We've heard this in the Serenity Prayer. There are things that we just don't have control over change. And the next one is let go of the idea that you can control others' actions. We really only have control over ourselves and how we act. I say this constantly. I can walk into a room and do a great inspirational speech, but I have no control over the people I'm speaking to. It is up to them to accept what I'm saying, put it into practice, and make it work for them. Some people will ignore it. Some people will take it and do exactly as I say. Some people will take it, do it exactly as I say, and improve upon it. But it's still what they do. It's not the actions I take. I can only give you information. I can only speak from that point. Don't live in chains when you have the key. We live with self-limiting beliefs that we let define who we are. How many things are ideas, as we talk about the power of imagination, how many things in our mind have we had ready to go? We have people serving up opportunities to us, and we don't take them. I'm guilty of it. I'm guilty of people inviting me to do things, and I don't do them because of fear of maybe how I look or how I speak or how I sound, or maybe if I do this, it's going to make me more out there, and being an introvert, maybe I don't want to be out there. Or do I have enough inside of me to be good enough to speak? And I'm talking about thoughts that have run through my head, but what is going through your head when those things come through? When we limit ourselves, we no longer can express ourselves. Marianne Williamson with the whole poem, where in that line it says, who are we not to shine our light? Because we're so scared of knowing how powerful we truly are that we limit ourselves. We play small. I am truly guilty of that. By allowing others to tell me how I should and should not act, I took Richard and put him in a cupboard. And I had to pull Richard back out and say, no more. Be who you are, because the right people that need to hear your message, the right situations that you need to be in will unfold if you're truly who you are. Otherwise, you will live someone else's life. And finally, leave room for mistakes. The greatest lessons you will ever learn will happen from your failures. Do not be afraid of your failures. We fail all the time. We fail forward. John C. Maxwell wrote a wonderful book called Failing Forward for that exact reason. So when we talk about moving forward, is what is it for us to release? In one of my talks before, and I use this, there's a prayer called Please Untie the Knots. And we're talking about the knots that we tie up. In this way, it was rewritten in a way that it's the knots, N-O-T-S. So it says, Dear God, please untie the knots that are invading my mind, my heart, and my life. Please remove the have-nots, the can-nots, the do-nots, and that invade my mind. Please erase that will-nots, the may-nots, and the might-nots that invade my heart. Please release me from the could-nots, the would-nots, and the should-nots that invade my life. Most of all, dear God, I ask that you remove my mind, my heart, my life, and all of the am-nots I have allowed to hold me back. Please erase from my mind the thought that I am not good enough. Please remove from my heart that I am not loved enough. Please untie from my life everything that I clutch that supports the belief that I am not enough. Today, dear God, I come to you humbly, reverently, and asking that you untie, eliminate, and erase all the knots that have invaded every aspect of my life. For this I am so grateful. Let these words take on the presence of the Holy Spirit to becoming living condition in my life. Take those as affirmations. Think of all those knots that we tell ourselves. I'm not good enough. I'm not well enough. I'm not sexy enough. I'm not, good looking enough. I'm not And you can make that list go on and on and on. And today, I want to help you release those knots or release whatever it is that you feel you need to work on. And we're going to let our inner guidance lead us to that. So normally it's called the burning bowl. I'm not using a bowl for sure. I'm using a glass candle holder and some flammable paper so that we use it as that. If you're at home and you want to do this, but you don't want to have the fire, there is a safe way to do it. And I've seen this done in other areas where you take a bowl of water. We're going to go through a meditation. You're going to write down the one thing that you want to begin releasing. And you'll place it in the water and the water will dissolve. You can use toilet paper. There is dissolving paper that you can purchase. We usually use flash paper for the fire in the church, but today I'm using just regular flammable paper and a tea light. But you do it, please be safe when you do it. And you can do it whenever you want. Like I said, sometimes people practice this on New Year's Eve as a release. And then next Wisdom Wednesday, I'm going to take you through the white stone ceremony, and I'll describe that more as I go on, where I implore you to go ahead and find a white or light colored stone that you can write on, which you will carry with you for the year. But right now, let's focus on the burning bowl. So again, normal ceremony is a lot of times the practice is we write down everything. But I heard a unity minister recently say it best. He's like, well, and I'll use this as an example. Okay, when you take this fist and hold it here, you can look at this fist. If you take this fist and look at it here, you can see this fist and focus on it. But when you hold up both fists and you're looking forward, how do you focus on both of them at the same time? So when we write a list of all the things we want to release, and we can go on for days and write chapter books and encyclopedias and everything of all the stuff we want to get rid of, how do we focus on doing the work? So today what I want to focus on is being divinely guided to the one thing we want to start with. What our divine intuition, our Christ center, our Buddhist nature, whatever it is for you, intuition is telling us we need to release right now to begin the journey to the best us. With that being said, let us go ahead and enter into meditation. And I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. I want you to take 3 deep breaths just to center in. Let's begin with one deep one. And let's let it go. Take another deep breath, deep into our abdomen, raising our abdomen out, feeling our lungs fill up, and then just let it go. One final breath, we breathe in, filling everything up, and we let it go. And as we center into this moment, we release all our attachment to the outer world and we move into the center of our mind where the Christ consciousness lives, where the Buddha nature lives, where our intuition is divinely guided. We just focus on that area for a few moments. And by releasing the outer world, we're not thinking about tomorrow, we're not thinking about yesterday, we're in this present moment. And we're waiting to release this to our inner guidance to allow us to know as we ask ourselves, what is mine to do? What is mine to release in this time? And let us just take a deep breath in. Let us breathe out. And as we return to our normal breath, let us remain silent for a few moments and listen for that small, still voice. And we're only looking for the one thing that we are divinely guided to release in this moment. And when you receive that message, feel free to take a deep breath, open your eyes, and write it down on that piece of paper, whether you're doing the water or whether you're doing a flame. But go ahead and do that. So let's just enter into the silence. and continue in this space for as long as you need till you hear that small, still voice. And even if you come out and you don't see it right away, just give yourself time. It will come to you. When you are done, go ahead and write it. I like to hold it in my hand. Affirm that I am open to release this, and I am open to receive what is mine to do. Then safely place the paper, allow it to burn in symbolism of that which you needed to release has been released into the universe and given to God, given to Source, given to Allah, given to faith, whatever it is for you, and allow them to handle it as we release it off. And now we are open for next Wednesday. We do the white stone ceremony to find that which is ours to carry for the year. So with that, I thank you as always for being here on Wisdom Wednesday. Utilize the very simple part of that meditation to guide you to what is yours to release. And you can do it on the day that you see this video. You can do it on New Year's Eve, whatever it is for you that you feel that you'd like to do it. You could also go to unity.org where they're also doing a burning bowl, and you can add your things to release there as well. Or if you're in anywhere near a Unity that's doing it live, go ahead and do that as well. But again, safely at home. Find if you can do it with a flame, you have flash paper or any kind of flammable paper, you can use a small bowl or pot, whatever it is, a tea light candle or some type of candle that will generate a flame. But if you'd rather not use a flame, again, a bowl of water, a piece of toilet paper, a piece of whatever. Again, it is the symbolism of writing it down and watching it dissolve out of it. Either way is just as powerful as long as you do the work that's behind it. I thank you for being here today. My name is Rev Rich, and as I always say, I love you. There's nothing you can do about it. And I will see you next Wisdom Wednesday as we join together in the white stone ceremony. Please remember to find yourself a white stone, whether it's a white tile, doesn't matter, just something that you can write on and have a marker, and we will do that next week.